Hi, my name is Tariro Chaniwa and I'm your host for the Creative Economy Conversations. This is a space where we're taking everything that we're learning through British Council's So Creative e-learning course and bringing it to life through the various conversations that we'll be having with practitioners, people who are moving and shaping things in the creative space in Africa. So please do take a seat, sit back, relax, and make sure you glean into some of the nuggets that we are learning from these amazing creatives who've taken their time to share with us. Let's create and let's build. We are here with the amazing Saimon Mambazo Phiri. It's an epic moment for me because I've been waiting to have this conversation for a very long time and I've been hearing snippets. So I thought, let me be the first one to first one in my books to just have a nice conversation with you. Welcome to the Creative Economy Conversations.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
It is a pleasure and an honor. I don't know if you know this, but my first encounter with you was at Ibumba Festival. I was a guitarist for Edith Otonga.
That long ago?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think you were in the buzz of things. So, it was nice
so.
to see you in action. And
it was like 2007.
I can't remember when. Yes, around that time.
Yeah.
Around that
it must
time.
be a long time ago.
Very long time. So
I
it
think
was.
with all of them to headlining in
Yes.
Festival then. Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
that was nice. And it was nice I was like, wow, this is happening in this part of the world.
Yeah.
So tell us about that journey for you. Where did the idea of the artist coming into business come from? Okay, let's start with the artist. How did we start to say, okay, today I'm going to be an artist?
I was hoping you would not ask that question.
It has to.
That's a question that has been asked several times. And it's normally put as in, how did you get into the arts? And I always like to say to people, I never got into the arts. The arts got into me.
Come on. Come on.
And I just found myself in this whole craze, And the funniest thing about me being in the arts has always been no one ever supported me. I mean, from family to friends. I think there was too much of an expectation out of me.
Wow.
And I think when you're in a community like Makokoba, Nguwenja, then people look at you and think you're the intelligent one. And when we were brought up, abadala bathi funda ukhule mntanami yesebenzela amakhiwa, loosely translated to mean you have the capacity to go to school and go and work for a white man, but I defied all those odds. I never worked for a white man. So here I was in the arts, something that I don't think people took serious, So they got into me. After they got into me, I found myself, seeing Conti Mhlanga as my biggest role model because he came from the same community where I came from. So there was a transition from us looking at him as someone ohlanyayo, to someone who is actually a role model, like someone that I always wanted to be like. At that time, Makokoba, Nguwenja, Mzilikazi, you call it, they said at some stage, if you drop a stone in those communities, you either hit an artist or a footballer. So I was an artist.
So what was that thing about Cont that stood out for you, that made you think, okay, this guy's not crazy?
Yeah, it's the intelligence, it's the simplicity of a man in the community that could, look at a situation and explain it differently from everyone. Cont would look at a simple situation and explain it differently. That's why all these shows, from Members Only to Double Up to Stitcher, it was simple stories but interpreted in a unique way, and you'd be so amazed at how this guy looks at things. Also, he was well read, and I was in that journey where I was reading lots of books, I don't think there's any peseta novel that I didn't read. So here I was living in the midst of a novel. Like,
wow.
It was living on set when we were with Cont, I remember at one stage he used to carry these big books and he had these belly button, trousers. He was a karateka. He was everything that a young man wanted to be. Though, there's always a thin line between that and being insane. But he was an amazing guy.
So paint a picture for us. What would a day in Nguwenja look like for you as when the art gets into you? What was that?
How did you put that into action?
So fun enough, because my mother didn't want me to do the arts. Most of our artistic activity happened in the Bundu, in a place called Ntabazintuna Flats. So that is a divide between Ntumbane and Mzilikazi. So there's a big railway line, and then there's a diesel shed that is owned by the railway company. So we used to hide there and do our shows, and no one ever knew where we used to rehearse.
Wow.
And would only, rock up when we have a show at Stanley Square, and the people would be like, "So where do you guys actually do this work from?" So we were very amorphous at the time, and no one knew where we were based. Would only come out with productions. So in a normal day, so we'd spend the day at home, do all the chores, and then at some stage disappear. Then come back in the evening and they uvela ngaphi, where were you? Hamvela dlala, and the parents would always assume uvela dlala ibola, because everyone, when young people went to play, babe siya dlala ibola. So when you come back, it's not soccer, but you've been doing the arts. And then gradually at some stage they needed to know that we're in the creative space, because some of the work we were doing, people would meet you and say, that is good what you're doing, and my mother would be like, what exactly are you actually doing here?
Do you think that, like now that you say that, it was sort of like an underground movement?
Yeah.
And now people can just do it freely. Do you
Yes.
think we're taking it for granted?
You are. You people. Actually, speaking about underground, we actually used to rehearse underground. So there's a bridge that goes under the railway line. So it was actually
It was literally
underground. I think people are taking a lot of things for granted. There's so much spaces. Look at where we are.
Absolutely.
This could have been a factory in our time, doing other things which are not what we are doing.
Yes.
So there's a lot that we don't see that is really in front of us. And I think this new generation of creatives should actually take advantage of.
So good. So let's fast forward to an opportunity comes for you, and you've got an opportunity to travel to the UK.
That story.
Talk to us about that. I love that story. Please share the what happened with that.
So the funny thing about me, besides just being this creative, I was also a writer. So I created a newspaper at a school. I actually wrote my O-levels, and I'd been banned from school, So
Why were you banned?
because I was writing controversy. So we had a school newspaper that we used to write using our hands and photocopy, and then we stick it up at the notice board on a Monday. So that got me very close to a man called Robin Doust. He was the senior librarian at the Bulaya Public Library. So I used to go there, volunteer my services, so they could photocopy my newspaper, which I would then take to school on the Monday. So through that, I then met Maureen Stewart at the British Council, and so I had a relationship with the outside world, from when I was young. And then we obviously met a group of artists that came here for Bulawayo's centenary celebrations. It was in 1995, and I remember them very well. Shiftwork Theatre Productions from Aberdeen. So they came here, they got lost. They were actually coming here to meet up with Amakhosi, because Amakhosi were flying at the time. And I actually met them by accident at the railway station. And they were looking for Amakhosi. Take them there. I think no one at Amakhosi had time for them because they were very busy. So I arranged to come and meet them, take them around town the following day, which I did. Fast forward, later on, we did a show at the Bulawayo Theatre together. And then there was constant communication when they went back, and then I got an invite to come to the Aberdeen International Youth Festival. And obviously the British Council had to come in, we raised money, so I got a ticket. The ticket which came via British Council, I collected that, took it home. My father was having none of it. So because at that time he wasn't sure what I was actually doing with my life, And he was like, no, Sat, you must have stolen this from somewhere, So he took me actually to the nearest police station and said, see, my son has stolen money to buy an air ticket. Obviously, the policeman could see that. I mean, I couldn't have stolen a whole air ticket. But he was an old man, so they needed to appease him. So I had to go back on a Monday, go back to the British Council to explain that I was actually a very good man who deserved the opportunity to leave the country and pursue what I was actually pursuing. And also, I think one of the biggest realization for my father, he had come here all the way from Malawi to work for a Scottish family.
Wow.
And also I had not realized is that in our home we had a Scottish flag, which my father had been given by his former employers, sorry. And so when I said I was going to Scotland, he could never believe it, because Scotland to him was like going to heaven.
Wow.
So
and here you
actually,
are, the least expected.
The least expected of them was actually going to heaven, and it was announced that he was going to heaven. So for me, actually, to realize that that piece of fabric that was hanging in our house was actually the Scottish flag was when I
you
actually
get there.
got there.
Wow.
Because I thought Scotland was part of the United Kingdom, and we all know the Union Jack and everything. But only to realize that that blue fabric with the crosses is
Yeah.
actually a Scottish flag. So I actually fell in love with Scotland, also because that's where most of my actualization happened, you know, because I went out there a non-entity of no identity. I came back a commodity of commercial value.
Ooh, talk to us about that. That's transition of now realizing your commercial value. What were the things that stood out for you that made you realize that?
I think God has been good to me. I was very blessed, actually. I'm very lucky. So when I went to this festival, we then did an amazing show. After that, 5 of us remained in Scotland to do a collaboration with Shiftwork, which was called Bridges. And I was one of the main characters in that show. So we traveled all the way up to the Orkney Islands, Shetland Islands. So we saw the best of the Scottish theatre scene.
Wow.
And as a result, we ended up at Edinburgh just to watch the festival. So when you get to Edinburgh, you're so mesmerized. Come on. How can you not be so impressed and motivated when you get to a city that has got more than 1,000 shows happening over 30 days
Yes.
in more than 100 venues? We could only just get there and be mesmerized and watch and start dreaming. One day I want to come back here. I want to bring this show. So things started happening in my head. So when I came back home, I was like, wait a minute. I need to stop what I'm doing and start again with ambition to take something to a place like Edinburgh International Fringe. Because if you've not seen that, I don't think you've seen anything in the theatre world. It's amazing. It's something that you can only imagine. So that for me was a wake-up call to say, look, you're doing well, but go back home, restart and do something that can get to this for us. And I'm glad I did.
I'm glad you did. Take us. Let me take you back a little bit. You talked about you know, reading from the city library. You talked about Amakosi being very busy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about institutions and how they support us as artists and what that did for you.
I think the one thing that's missing now is institutional support and also structures. At our time, there was structures. You'd rarely put up a show even in a community hall without having to get clearance from somewhere. If it was not the National Arts Council, it was the Bulaya Association of Drama Groups. It was the National Theatre Organization. So there was always structures that guided you. Later on, there was ZATSIP, the Zimbabwean Association of Theatre for Children and Young People. So if you wanted to go into the schools, you needed clearance from that. And also the authorities seemed to take it easy when it came from institutions. And the sad thing is that those institutions are not there now. If they are there, they're out there to just churn out funding with specific, targets and boxes for people to tick. And that's not for me. And I never grew up in that world. And as you might already know, I'm an advocate against that, you know, because I think that is what has killed quite a lot of very promising artistic creations that have found themselves in the dustbin, because there was so much handouts at some time, such that people just believed in receiving and never gave back to the sector. And when that dried up, there was nothing to look at for quite a lot of the creatives, and naturally the projects died.
So does that mean our sector is not viable, or maybe we didn't see how to monetize what we do properly?
I think if I was to use a 1980s advert, Takainonokera Colgate. You know what that means.
Yes.
I think we searched so much on Pretty for too long. And there was so much going on, and I think at our time there was also the advent of South African theatre coming to us. So there was so much going on. There was I'm trying to find the right way. We were so comfortable in that space, and we never thought of the commercialization of the whole sector. Stuff that we're trying to do now, if we'd done it in the 90s, in the early 2000s, I think this sector would be very, very viable. And I think for me, I was also lucky that when I started traveling the world, I was also able to look at that and say, right, when we come to Europe, why is it that the business of the arts is always in the hands of other people? And all we want to do is to consume the loose change. So I was very keen on getting to the source.
Yeah.
Getting to the promoters, getting to the associations, getting to the festivals. I was very inquisitive. That's why, if you look at my journey, I kind of, touched everyone that was up there. To a point, at some stage, I even created my own promotion company in the UK, because I realized that if I wasn't able to do that, the business of my work would still be held by other people.
Absolutely.
And they would make more money than us while we do the work, you know. But coming out of a place like Bulawayo, for instance, was very hard, because you then meet productions coming out of South Africa. There was a lot of things talking about apartheid, Nelson Mandela. You know, South Africans didn't need to work. They would just get there and say Nelson Mandela, and everyone would give them a standing ovation just for saying Nelson Mandela. And if they say Desmond Tutu, even worse, you know. And for us at the time, you could not mention names, you know, because once you mentioned any of our names here, you were deemed to be very unpopular.
Probably wouldn't come back.
No, wouldn't come back, you know.
Yeah. No, that's I hear that.
Are you ready to turn your creative ideas into a financially rewarding business? To take your creativity further and make that creative side hustle your main hustle? You can own your future with our So Creative e-learning platform, an initiative by the British Council. With So Creative, you set your own schedule and learn how to build your business for free. Our courses are tailored to creatives looking to build a business to bring their ideas to the world. We have a community of over 500,000 students registered and over 30,000 course graduates. Our courses are available online, and many of our students and graduates come from all over the continent. You could be next. Explore a world of creativity and take your pick from our free, self-paced courses designed to give you the skills to launch and grow your creative business. You can also try our more in-depth courses designed to give you essential skills to grow your creative enterprise, like raising capital to fund your next venture, impact entrepreneurship to make your creative enterprise an engine for positive change, finances for creative business to help you plan and manage your resources effectively, and creative economy policy making to help you better navigate regulations and stay informed on opportunities you can use to grow your creative enterprise. Register today and write your own story with the So Creative e-learning platform.
So you've come back from your first experience at the festival, Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
And now you've decided, okay, I need to be part of this value chain. Let me go back.
Sure.
Let me redraw, regroup. What are the things that you then put into place to say, right, this is how we're going to be operating from today?
So that was a process of actualization and formulation. I think we lost each other. There was so much of us, so many of us that we just loved the norming stage of what we were doing. It was exciting. And then here is Mambazo now wanting to structure things, you know. And there's the big conversations that artists never discuss in these groups, you know. I'll give you an example. Artists never discuss that once these groups make $1,000, who does it belong to? And in what percentage is that $1,000 shared? People never discuss that,
Yes,
because they think we will only discuss it when we get the $1,000. But I was a different one. I used to say, what if we were to pick it up, So you'd find us with conversations. If we're to make money and buy a car, whose car is it, Those are very important conversations that in artistic groups are never discussed. So in a way, we lost each other because we wanted to now formulate things. There were so many structures. A lot of our friends fell by the wayside. We made a lot of enemies. But I'm glad to say that in 1998, before going back to Europe, I had a chance to take 2 of my shows to the Panafest Festival in Ghana. That brought the Pan-Africanism in me, So get there, you meet Isaac Hayes, Rita Mali, and these people are talking about reparations, bringing back what belongs to Africa. And I'm there, I'm like in awe and say, God, this is beautiful,
Yes.
I needed this before I went back to the European circuit, So we got there, we're very successful. That was the first time I ever saw an award-winning dance company. And we're on the same stage with these award winners, and but what they do and what we do is not different. But why are we not award winning?
Yeah.
Which is actually later on what inspired the creation of the Bulawayo Arts Awards, because for a long time, work coming out of this city was never awarded, but it was traveling the world.
Yes.
Without having to go via the capital, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
So we started thinking, no, we need to be the brothers that we never had at our time,
So
because
good.
at our time we met these award-winning artists, but we were at the same level with them, and there was something I missed there. So for me, after Ghana, things started to make a lot of sense. So by the time we got back to Europe in 2000, we actually toured Europe for 12 years non-stop, because the structure had been built from Edinburgh, going to Ghana, seeing all these things that were happening. And for 12 years non-stop, we could travel the world. Yeah.
So good. So I don't know if you know this. I know you probably do. When I moved to Bulawayo, the first thing I was told was, you need to be careful of the mafia in this place. So is this why you are mafia? Because you've tried to set some structures in how artists operate?
Well, I've been termed that, and I've actually accepted it. I'm the King Don of the mafia. It was very derogative at the time, but being me, I actually realized that actually what people were pointing at was the things that were about, restructuring the industry. I've always been an advocate that we should do things the right way. Whatever we do, we should do it the right way. Yes, people can cry foul, call it mafia, nepotism, selective mechanism. I actually don't care. At the end of the day, we're fixing a sector.
Absolutely.
And if you were to go to any sector, I think whatever they call it, gatekeeping, is still necessary. You wouldn't become a dentist overnight.
Absolutely.
If you wanted to be a dentist, you have to go through stages and structures for you to actually register to be a dentist. Why should it always be easy in the arts that you should just walk in, create something, when you're bored, you leave?
Yes.
Yeah.
You should be held accountable
Yeah.
for the things that you do. Absolutely.
Well, there is no active mafia for clarity. There is nothing called a mafia. The people that actually tempt mafia have never sat in one room and met, It probably means whatever we're doing, it's got similarities. We share, we are people of shared interests. We are like-minded people. So when people don't like you, they actually will tell me that. But if being called a mafia, a gatekeeper is what makes this industry tick, I'm one.
So the irony is that it's the mafia that then started to give me jobs. So I'm grateful for the mafia in Bulawayo. Thank you.
True, true.
Thank
So
you.
you're a mini mafia now.
I'm a mini mafia.
Yeah, true.
So let's talk about the festival circuit, because you've also been very intentional about creating those spaces that allow artists to thrive.
True.
How did you start Ibumba and the other different festivals that you are involved in?
So Ibumba was heartfelt. It was a way of bringing artists that we meet on the road. Because when we started traveling a lot, you'd meet artists and they would want to come and visit Zimbabwe, and there was no platform for them to come to. Because I've always felt that Bulawayo is a big festival city without any festival. Even when Iwumba was there, we still didn't have a festival. It was just a city with a lot of gatherings, because we deserve a better festival than what we have created ourselves. And so Iwumba was a way of bringing our friends to the city. It initially started as a winter festival, but when we started traveling, because winter here is summer in Europe, we moved it to December when we would be back, and it became one big party. After Ibumba, obviously, I created the Bulawayo Arts Festival, because I'd always felt Bulawayo needed its festival. So when that opportunity came by, I was part of the team that put together the Bulawayo Arts Festival, and I'm glad it's still in existence now. And
you're still at the helm of it, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I just did it for 2 years. And
so good. And you handed it over.
Back to the city. That was the idea. Create and hand over.
Good,
you know? I think at this stage, I should be in the business of creating ideas and then hand over to other people to run with them. It's not what I would have thought it would be by now, but I mean, it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. So I'm very keen on creating projects that then would go on. And my recent creation is obviously the 50 Days at the theatre, which was my way of celebrating my 50th birthday, with the showcase of all these productions, including Zambezi Express, which everyone had been asking, when can you bring it back? So we brought it back during the 50 Days last year. So the festival circuit also stems out of Edinburgh, stems out of all the festivals that I'd been to, you know, and every time I'd always wanted something like that back here that could actually get our people, because festivals bring people together, they bring cultures, it excites a city. Look at what's happening, got Dagamela now.
Yes.
With Imklomelo yakhe, that is turned out into a festival.
Yes.
You know, even not planned, but it's already
a festival,
you know?
yeah.
And I'm glad to be behind the scenes there and see its progression and how it's growing. And I can say that in the next 5 years, it's probably be the biggest thing in this country. I
Absolutely.
think. Yeah.
It's ticking all the right boxes.
It is, yeah.
It's ticking all the right boxes.
Definitely.
So what are the things that, when you look at Mbazo, the young boy who got his first ticket to go to a festival, and now you taking other artists to experience the same thing, you've somehow created a touring blueprint. If I'm watching this today and I'm a creative, where do I start? Where do I start? I also want to have that journey. I believe in Bulawayo to the world, not via fire.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
I think the one thing that I've always told young people is the world is waiting to consume the right products. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. There is products that have come from the dingiest places in the world. If you go to a festival like Walmart, which is the world of music, arts and dance, you see things that are coming from Mongolia, Jerusalem, and then you think, how did they see this? It's because it's the right products. Once you have the right product, the world is ready to consume it. The world starts here in Bulawayo, by the way. Because the Bulawayo artists will say, well, people are not supporting us. But my question is, do you have the right product? Because the world will consume only the right products. And it starts here. So if you have the right product here, locals will consume it. And then eventually the rest of the world will want to consume that. I mean, you look at Japreza, you look at what's happening now, it's because those products are ready to get on a suitcase and travel tomorrow. Yeah.
And I know you've just... we're also involved in this weekend's event, which featured a lot of different artists at Harris.
Yeah.
A conversation that has been happening a lot on the socials is, and I'm speaking because I'm also part of a festival space, is we are bringing in too many international artists, our local artists are not getting the same exposure. Speak to us about what that dynamic is and what we can do better as creatives to make sure that we are at that level where they don't have to bring in internationals?
I think the world over, events and concerts are done by business people. It's a business model. You only bring what people want to consume. So even when we travel to the world, there is also local artists there that are clamoring that why are you bringing all these international artists? So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
All artists need to do is to have the right products, like I've said, and business people would want to put on stage what people would like to see. Even if they put Sandandebele for 20 times, if it makes business sense, they will continue to do it. I mean, I'm not a fan of just complaining for no reason. And if Harris thinks Amapiano will make money for him, so be it. Someone else brings something else that they think would make money. Because the promotion is solely business.
Yeah.
Until and unless artists end up running their own promotion companies. And then those companies are run from an artist perspective. But I can tell you they will fail because passion and business are two different things, And we can be emotional about a lot of things, but if money has to be made, it has to be made.
It has to be made.
Definitely.
When I got my job at Jacaranda, the first thing Walter said to me was, if we put the artists we enjoy, we are never going to make money.
Exactly. Because you're just fans.
Yeah, just fans.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's talk about 50 Dates.
Yeah.
And the heart behind that project. And as you're going through the 50 Dates, what is going through your mind as you're reflecting on all the work that you've done to date?
So 50 Dates, very emotional, like I said. So I think I would be honest with you, growing up from where I come from, I never thought I would reach 50.
Wow.
Yeah, I would tell you that's the honest truth, because most of our role models in the townships died before this age, And we had a mistaken identity of heroism in the townships, And if you go back and you look at it...
What do you mean mistaken identity of heroism?
Most of our heroes were either Tsotsis, prostitutes, or something else. Okay. But we didn't know when we were young. All we saw was flashy cars and success, So when those role models die earlier, it starts looking like it's actually the norm, So for me, personally, I never thought I'd reach this age. So getting to this age for me was amazing. And I thought, what a way to celebrate it. I can't just have a party. I owe something to the arts because it's what has brought me here. So let me do something that's never been done. Go to the theater, book 50 dates and put up shows. And the one thing that made me do that is that everyone I shared that vision with said it cannot be done. And that's
so
a fire starter for me. I like to do things that cannot be done, So I'm glad we did most of it until when we lost Babongile and Desire, may their souls rest in peace. But that is the time that I kind of gave up because they were the fabric of the project. They were heavily involved in that, and when they both passed on within a space of a month, it hit me, and we kind of decided, okay, we'll stop here, but the new year is coming. We'll finish off this in the new year. Well, I mean, I still have up to July to finish off the...
Well, I really hope you do. In honor of them, that would be
Yes,
amazing for
we
you
should,
to continue
yeah,
that,
we
and may
should,
their
yeah.
souls continue to rest in peace.
Yeah.
So what is the future looking like for Mbazo?
I want to survive such that I leave a better legacy. Without being controversial, you would realize that most of our role models didn't leave a good legacy behind them, and we always make these mistakes towards the end of our lives, And that's at the core of my work. That whatever I do now, I leave a better legacy. I leave something for people to use going forward. I want to leave prototypes of what people can take on going forward, be it touring, be it production, be it promotion, be it mentorship, and anything. That's why I want to give a lot of these talks, because I rarely speak in front of cameras because people don't actually even know me. They know of me, but they don't even know me. I've been in situations where people speak about me in my presence and they don't even realize they're speaking about me, So I want to do more of this. There's a legacy. There's something that people can refer to. because I also believe that I'm a very underutilized oral library for the arts, you know, and I'm here and I live here. And at some stage, I'll probably take a backstage role and, you know, and start retiring to Sophia Town.
You must hear this vision, and I won't share it now because I want to keep it. I want to gatekeep this one until it's ready for people to really experience.
Sure.
But yeah, it's been such an absolute pleasure having you, and I know that there will be many of these conversations that we will have. So for the artist that's watching this, because I know your heart is with us, the creatives, talk to us about the 3 things that they should do to ensure that they professionalize and are viable.
I think all creatives should be ready. They should also know what they want to do. And I will explain to you why. Most of our creatives actually don't even know who they are. Are you a musician? Are you a producer? What are you? Do you want to go on stage? I look at a tariro. Do you want to play guitar or you want to manage people playing guitars? You know,
I started wanting to play, but I'm finding myself, like you're saying,
Exactly.
there's a gap. So you
Yeah.
find yourself now trying to fill that gap as well.
Yeah, the problem is that all of us want to lead when some of us have to serve.
Wow.
So I think there is some that have to serve while others are leading for the sector to actually get to where it wants to get to. So we should be ready, know what we want to do, and then also realize we're building an industry. And an industry has to have a balance sheet. An industry has dollars and cents. Until we get there, we'll always be called a sector.
So we need to move from a sector to an industry.
We have to. We owe it to ourselves, actually, especially the ones that are leading. We owe it to ourselves to address the big questions in the room. The big elephants are still there. We never address those. How do we actually make money in a city like Bulawayo? You spoke about continuing to sell culture. And I remember in a forum where I said, most of what I see now is what I call airport pulp. Because people are just packaging Chongoyo, Jerusalem, and taking it out to the world and saying this is Zimbabwean art. No, it is there in Zimbabwe, but that's not the representation of what we have as a country. There's so much going on in the theater sector. There's so much going on in the hip hop world, but we're not seeing that. Because once someone agaisa mapecho and dance Jerusalem, that's Zimbabwe. So there are times when I've gone out and I've been asked, but your production doesn't have Jerusalem. And I start addressing people, including our own government departments, to say Jerusalem is not the only thing coming out of this country, you know. So there's so much airport pulp coming out of this country to represent what the sector is. And that's wrong. We need to correct that.
Wow. I think I've got like 20 more questions now that I need to. But I think for today, we've come to the end of our interview. And thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom. I really wish you the best for the rest of the 50 dates. We are looking forward to those. So yeah, please stay tuned for more. We've got so many other conversations coming along. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this one.
And that's a wrap for today's conversation. It's been an amazing time. And if there's one thing that you're going to take away from today, it's look, the creative economy is here. The creative economy is here to stay, and we're here to build the capacities of all the practitioners in it. So if you like what you heard, if you like what you've listened to, please do share, please do tell someone, and make sure you subscribe so that you can catch the next conversation.
Hi, my name is Saimon Mambazo Phiri, and you're watching Creative Economy Conversation.